As you can see, I've simply separated the outer blue covering at this point about 3/4 of an inch. Okay? And now I'm going to start drawing it with my hand, pulling it along the edge, holding on to it tightly with my left hand and drawing it. As you can see, it's starting to separate nicely. Okay? I get a firmer grip, and then I just keep drawing it the whole length. You have to keep pulling it the whole length so that you draw it completely along. See how easily that comes off. And that's all you need to do. Now inside of the bundle, you'll find this clear plastic guide. And you don't need that, so you want to cut that guide off and discard it. You won't need that. So here we go. We've got about 3 feet of outer blue covering removed. The next step that we're going to perform is to take your wire bundle and you're going to feed the wires into one of the 4.5 inch long pieces of plastic tubing. All of the tubes have been cut already to the proper length, and the holes have been drilled in them. So I'm going to draw this wire through this 4.5 inch piece of tubing and out one end. And it doesn't matter what end you draw it out of. I'm going to draw it quite a bit because I want lots of room to work with it. So it looks like this. Now what I'm going to do is to take, and at the very end of the blue covering, I'm going to tie a knot. Simple as that. And then I'm going to draw it closed, and I'm not going to pull very hard on these wires, only enough to start the knot. And then I'm going to grab the blue covering and make sure my knot is tight and as close to the end of the blue covering as possible. Now you have to make sure you draw it tight, or else it won't fit back into the tube where it's going. Okay? So now what we're going to do is take a bit of silicone tape that we use for water sealing connections from water such as rain, and in this case sealing this tube, the outer blue tube, okay, to make sure water doesn't go up through there. Okay? So we want to take a piece of black tape and stuff it inside and around these wires as tight as possible, just a little bit. It doesn't really matter having excess, okay? All you want is a tiny bit to go in the hole just to seal it up so no water can find its way down the blue sheath and all the way back to the control box. You'll be using this control box for many, many months, as long as it doesn't fail because of overuse. And the wire you most probably be using forever, because as long as there's no deterioration, it's going to last for a long time. So you want to make it last as long as possible by sealing this end, not letting any water get all the way up to the RJ45 connector, because there will occur corrosion on these fine contacts which could inhibit the operation of one of your thrusters. So that's why we do that. So we pack that full of black silicone and only what you need to do it with. Now we're going to draw the blue cable back through the hole, and along with it, along with the knots, we're going to use the blue twisted pair of wires. We're going to feed it back through the tube and out the other side, just like this. Now, as we draw the large blue cable back into the inside of the 4.5-inch tube, it gets quite tight, so that's why we have to make sure the knot is small. Okay. As we draw it in there, we're going to be pulling the blue one, the blue twisted pair, ever so gently. We're not going to pull on it very much because you can tear the wires inside and not know it. So we're going to pull it back until the knot reaches the hole. Okay. And then we won't be able to pull it any further. And I can look into the tube and I can see that we're just about there. Okay. Now, the knot is there as a strain relief, so that you'll be dropping this vehicle in the water by use of the cord. You'll be pulling it out. You'll be tugging on it numerous times for a variety of reasons. And you don't want to be pulling on these wires, the small wires. You only want to be pulling on the large blue outer cable, so that it takes all the strain. So now we have 3 pairs of wires going out one side, and we have 1 pair of wires going out the other. Now, at this point, we determine which is the right side of the vehicle, which is the starboard side, and which is the port side, which is the left side. So the blue wire will go out the port side, the left side. This is going to be the back of the vehicle. Where the wire comes out, that's going to be the back. So as you're looking towards the back of the vehicle, the green wire and the brown and orange wire will come out the starboard side, and they will go, these wires will go into a 90-degree elbow, just like that. Now, the 90-degree elbow, as you can see, has a hole that's already been drilled on. That elbow is going to sit this way, so I want that hole to be on the bottom. So I'm going to hold it in the position I'm going to install it permanently, feed the bundle of wire through there, and then I'm going to install it on the end of the 4.5 inch piece, and so that the control wire comes out the back of the vehicle and the 90-degree elbow is facing away from the wire. I'm going to push it together slightly by hand, and then I'm going to take the other elbow, 90-degree elbow, and I'm going to take the blue wire, and again this is now the port side, the left side, and I'm going to put the hole at the bottom and push them together. Now, I want these to be aligned so that the open end of the 90-degree elbows are in the same plane, like that. And I'm going to push them together, and I will tap them with a mallet a little later, but right now this is the orientation that I want them in. Just like that. The next operation is to take a 1.5 inch coupling and put all my wires on both sides through the coupling, and put it into the elbow. I want to do this on the starboard side, which is the right side, and I want to do this on the port side, which is the left side. So now I've pushed these in tightly. The 1.5 inch nipple here is half the distance once it's inside the 90-degree elbow. It's half the distance of the total length required to make this connection. It may not be all the way in there just yet, but when we tap it all together, it will be. Okay. So the next operation we're going to do is put in the T's. Okay. These T's, as you can see, they've been drilled for you. A T has two parts. It's called the run along this edge, and this is called the branch. So I'll be referring to the run and the branch usually when I'm only assembling a T into the overall frame. I'll take one of the T's, and this T, remember, has a hole in it. Now, the sea perch now, the vehicle, as we were assembling it, is starting to take shape, and it's going to be clear which is the right, which is the left, and which is the top. Okay? So the T has to have, of course, a hole at the bottom, and we're going to take the green wire, put it into the T, and allow it to come out the branch. Okay? Then we're going to take the brown and the orange wire and put it through one end of the run and let it come out the other end of the run. So now this T will fit on this nipple, okay, and we'll push it down best we can. The other T, again with the hole on the bottom,